please, if we just screw our courage to the sticking place." Peggy preferred quips to prayer, intelligent bargaining to pleading. Wit was her bayonet, her way of leading a charge. She detested the woman's role of patiently sitting, smiling like a painted fashion doll, while men battled and argued philosophy that could end tyranny. But she knew talking out loud in this manner was ridiculous. Her imaginary conversations were a recent habit, born of being deserted by her two older sisters, with whom Peggy had shared her bed and her every thought for all 21 years of her life. Born in less than 3 years from oldest to youngest, the Schuyler sisters had been a giggly triplet-like brood, tight-knit and entwined. As a trio, they complemented and balanced one another, each recognizing and coaxing out the best in the other two. Like pieces of those new jigsaw puzzles, only put together did the Schuyler sisters present a complete portrait, with the most beautiful and vibrant image of each clearer. But Angelica had married, seduced by an ever-so-charming card gambler, and now Eliza, logically next in line to marry, was gone to Washington's winter headquarters at Morristown to visit their aunt and her husband, who was Surgeon General to the Continental Army. And Peggy? Here she remained in Albany, alone, feeling bereft not only of her big sister's company, but somehow of definition and purpose without her arms linked in theirs. She loved her little brothers and sister, but Peggy couldn't share her heart with them. They couldn't finish her sentences with her own thoughts the way Eliza and Angelica could. Who was she without her big sisters? She had always been Aunt Peggy, introduced third whenever the Schuylers greeted guests to their family houses. Witty, elegant Angelica, kind, affable Eliza, and Peggy. Within the circle of family and friends, she was always described according to her older sister's attributes. She's saucy like Angelica, she's artistic like Eliza. As she stared at the flames, Peggy's hurt at being left behind turned to annoyance. It would be nice occasionally to be described purely as herself. In truth, with her sisters, Peggy was often reduced to confidant and accomplice. Rarely was she the center of anything. She was beginning to feel like Cinderella, always helping her sisters dress for balls she wasn't attending, relegated to chores. Peggy was forever helping their mamma and watching after the increasing brood of younger siblings. And here was this letter, from another male intruder into the Schuyler sisterhood who seemed to think Peggy would happily become handmaiden to a romance that would take away her middle sister, too. This poet penned aide-de-camp, this Alexander Hamilton who wrote to introduce himself and to make Peggy his ally in his courtship of Eliza. And the bait to lure her was in complimenting her person and mind as Eliza had depicted it in a pretty miniature painting, as if Peggy was so easily manipulated by flattery. But the thought that had kept her tossing and turning? Eliza was obviously falling for this man. Normally, her gentle sister would be far too modest to show her artwork to anyone. This was dangerous. Peggy must remain a watchful sentry to Eliza's enormous heart. She had learned the pitfalls of not being on guard for a sister the hard way with Angelica. After lighting a candle, Peggy pulled Hamilton's letter out from its hiding spot behind the cushion of a wing-back armchair next to the hearth. She tucked her feet up under her, huddled in her shawls, and began to read. "I venture to tell you, in confidence, that by some odd contrivance or other, your sister has found out the secret of interesting me in everything that concerns her." Humph! As if the sweet Eliza was some calculating enchantress, fumed Peggy. She squinted at the parchment. The handwriting was neat and elegant. One would never know Hamilton had written his appeal in the middle of a war, or in a camp laid waste by 4 feet of snow that refused to melt, where stubborn stoic patriots slept crammed together in tiny log huts, lying side by side with their